Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going over the second devlog of my Minecraft clone in Core. As you can see right off the bat, when you're looking at this, it's a lot different than was last time. There's, like hills and all of a sudden all blending together. That's something I still want to work on. And you can bake stuff. And what's this? There's caves as well. And there's so much stuff they can do now. So let's dive right into what updates I did to this in the past few weeks. So, obviously, first one I've seen is I got Ranger and Racing kind of working. Once again, still not that great. I'm still working on adding better biome blending because these are all different biomes, and I can actually control them in here. So I have the biome height scales. This one's a bit high, so I can make this like 35 and stuff like that, and then I can close out of this and reopen it. We give it a minute, it will generate again. I also made it so that it generates all the tables beforehand, so then for at least each chunk it generates the whole table for it. So it generates the inside blocks, cleans up the unused blocks before it actually then places the blocks. And once again, there's still weird borders between chunks sometimes if the height scores are different, and this is an issue that I'm working on fixing. So this is accomplished using perlin noise, which if you've been doing anything related to gameplay before, you might have heard of it. So this is a function I got offline, off the internet, and this allows me to have a perlin noise function. So I have basically the seed here, and I shuffle the seed so I create a random seed, and I shuffle it with this function. I have the size and the random max. Then I load the perlin so it gets the table result generated. Then I have the perlin noise function given the x, y, and z coordinates. Then I basically output the height or whether this should be a block or not. Basically outputs a number. That's what you need to know. Then here I code the perlin noise function within the coordinates. So if I change this to something like 80, it will make the environments feel much bigger, I guess you could say, or the terrain feel much bigger. Generate for a minute. And then I clamp it and multiply the height scale of the biome plus the height additions. This would be for this stuff on the lower area for stone and dirt. And then basically I also do the cave generation the same way. So what I do here is, assuming the height is not in the top few blocks, and also assuming it's not the ground block either, we can do, if you put a noise function of the x, y, and height is less than 0, it means it outputs a negative number for the noise function, which happens every time. It basically doesn't generate a block, so it generates a block, or if the height is 0, so it's the ground floor, or if it's on the outside of a chunk, so if it's right here, it doesn't do the noise. It doesn't do the caves. At least it shouldn't be doing. So not outside the chunk, it does it outside of outside the chunk, but also if it's like, obviously it doesn't work too well. As you can see, there's still a few issues, but most of the time it stops them from being holes in the middle of the ground that lead to it, or holes in the middle of the like uh like so there wouldn't be holes here basically. It still happens sometimes, but it's a lot less common than it would be. It basically gives a kind of natural feeling. Caves, obviously it's not that great because of the chunk borders and all that, but it looks pretty nice every time it's obviously good enough. And at least you can pass here and there. And then so then it spawns it, otherwise it doesn't spawn, it doesn't add anything to the table to place. So then I have a few functions here. I'm also working on implementing the greedy mesh algorithm. Not algorithm, I guess it's kind of algorithm, but it's a system that optimizes it by combining cubes. So for example, this cube, this whole area could be combined into one cube basically. So I could just basically get rid of like this and just make this one cube that's scaled all the way up. So another thing that I added, So also, I can't see anything here, but also added dynamic blocks for the height. So if there's a mountain, there'll be snow on top of the mountain. The dirt spawning under grass is a lot more consistent now. Now it's using a perlin noise for the hills and stuff to make like some more natural terrain generation. And I did rework, like I said earlier, the way it spawns, so it spawns everything first before I actually place the blocks. Honestly, I think I'm going to be reworking this whole system after this video for my next devlog. I'll be basically splitting this up into different scripts, because right now this is a 500 lines of code, so it's quite messy. I also have the spawn structure, which I'm not using right now, because I want to get everything working first. It was working before, it's not working now, because it's just didn't use it, but I can implement again, one or two. It just won't work too well with the new system that I made for the spawning of the blocks, where it's generates the table first before spawning them. So that's the main issue with it. And then I also had to clean up unused blocks. I'm pretty sure I went over the last video. It's changed a little bit, because now it just gets rid of the entry from the table before it spawns all the blocks. And the issue I am running into is that I'm using cubes, and it's getting really hard to detect block changes, and it doesn't work too well all the time, and I'm worried about like it loading up stuff. So as you can see, here's the dynamic blocks I was talking about, so it spawns snow instead of grass on top. So as you can see, let's say, I can't really tell if this is supposed to be a cave or just the optimization. Either way, in general, it's pretty optimized, at least it should be. I'm gonna do about working right now. But lots of the time, it tries not to spawn cubes right next to each other if they don't need to be seen. Oh yeah, that's right, it was just spawning, there's a cave up here, looks like. So, really, like I said, I think I read over it last video, I don't remember, but it kind of works sometimes, I guess. Can't say it works every time. But assuming that there is, I guess that's the issue with this me spawn objects is not deleting the unspawned, deleting the invisible ones. That's something I do have to fix apparently. But yeah, so this basically we have gone the whole thing to. So another thing is that it can generate a lot more now, and it generates slower now because I added the inside generation with the noise for caves and stuff. I'm saying these obviously aren't the best caves. I still do want to improve these a lot, because right now this O just is generated by this function here. And the other issue I'm running into is that rate limits on, sorry, instruction limits. So these always basically make sure I have to add task.waits over to stop from going with the instruction limit. And this way slows down the whole generation a lot. As you can see here, I was attempting to kind of get the, like how should I say, the biome blending, it's not been working out really. So I think if I make this back to max height scale, I might fix it. Also, it has to be chunk borders, but it won't be as bad, I think, hopefully. I think I'm actually just gonna go for a, because now I have the generation system reworked. So I'll just check the height of the, now it doesn't even work, that's amazing. Max height scale. This should be this. So I'm probably get rid of this, and then just make it move rid of that. So the main issue is, like I said, the biome borders, biome chunk borders are a complete pain to try to fix. That's something I'm gonna hold off a little bit until I get the rest of the thing done. So obviously I'm gonna try to rework the system a bit more. So instead of having what I have right now, I may want to rework it so because right now it just has a bunch of cubes, it's annoying. Something just having the planes. Obviously 3D mesh and all that for the optimization to, like I said, optimize it and have a different method of how should I say storing which blocks are shouldn't be shown and which ones should be shown, because right now it just sees if the block is surrounded or not, and it kind of works. It doesn't always work though, and it's a bit buggy because I can't say it's buggy because I don't know 100% sure if it actually works or not. Or if there's like a hidden block somewhere in a cave, person breaks into the cave, it doesn't show up, and there's just invisible blocks everywhere. And I haven't had it occur to me, but I was worried it might in the future. So the way Minecraft does it is it just, if the um or block is different than beside it, that obviously also want to rework the method for storing other placed blocks as well. And also, because right now it's extremely laggy to detect nearby blocks. So, see if I'm a function here somewhere. Basically, I have to go through this whole loop just to see if it's surrounded by 4 blocks, because if I just try to call this, I will probably get errors saying this column doesn't exist, compute index no value. So I have to make sure that, first of all, there's actually this block I'm trying to find. And then I have to make sure that there's a block above it, which is obviously kind of easy. Then after that, I have to make sure that there's a column of x plus 1 next to it, and a column of x minus 1, column of x with y plus 1, column of x, y minus 1. Then I can actually add on the y column, and for here and here, and here I just leave the same. We'll probably actually get rid of this to make it a bit faster thinking of it. Then obviously inside this column I can start doing more stuff with it. So this is x plus 1, x minus 1. Just making sure that I'm not behind. X minus 1 with y plus 1, and then obviously it's a very annoying loop. I could condense this into one if statement if I could rework the system so it has all the tables there and just have some like variable in the table for is empty or is not, to be true if it's empty, false if it's not empty, and that kind of stuff. And it's a bit of a pain to try to do sometimes, but I think I might mess something up in my generation. This doesn't seem correct. Oh, there it goes again. I guess it's a weird biome. As you can see, it takes a bit of time before generating the next thing because it's generating table beforehand and it broke. So, looks like it broke line 345. So, oh, never mind, that's just my unfixing thing. But it broke the whole thing because it's all made in one script. So, as you can see, it's obviously hasn't improved that much. I mean, it's improved quite a bit, but the base framework is not that great because when I was doing the project, I thought I'd be lucky to have some basic, generation in. I never thought I'd even get this far, so I wasn't really building it from the ground up to be this reliable and, and be able to, I guess I just wasn't really thinking ahead when I was building the original framework for it, so it wasn't really very expandable. So it's not very easy for me to add new features or anything. So I'm splitting up into different scripts and hopefully it will work better. I'm going to try to optimize it, probably build like 95% of it. since I already know how it's all built, it wouldn't be that hard of a thing to do. So hopefully I'll get that done by next devlog within a month or so. And yeah, that's about it. And I want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fabulous day. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video, and goodbye.